intelligent audience in America. And I will tell you what you will talk about. In the meantime, congratulations are in order to the citizens of Oklahoma City, led by the urban league. One of the largest parades that I've seen on the northeast side of Oklahoma City. I would certainly tell you what a great honor it was for me to walk from Douglas High School to Tabernacle Baptist Church and to see so many of you, to see you about hundreds that came out not only to participate, but to stand up on this No Crime Sunday. And certainly it looked good to see churches, sororities, fraternities, Masonic groups, enshriners, and the man on the street, along with all the beautiful queens that participated in that parade today. It's so bizarre thinking time in Oklahoma, because the 17th annual Soul Bazaar will be held on May 2nd and 3rd, 1986, at the Merritt Convention Center that's located in downtown Oklahoma City. The Soul Bazaar has earned the reputation of being Oklahoma's great trade and industry show. For 17 years, the Soul Bazaar has been talking about business, education, economic development, cultural exchange, health, job fair, human relations, and entertainment. It is a minority-sponsored trade and industry show, bringing together people of all races, creeds, and colors together for the economical, educational, and social experiences that are needed in today's world. I want you to make plans to attend the 17th Annual Soul Bazaar, May 2nd and 3rd, Merritt Convention Center. If you would like to exhibit, be sure and call me at 424-3949. If you would like to participate in the talent shows, fashion shows, and the gospel shows, just let us know. That's Soul Bazaar 86, May 2nd and 3rd in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Next week, or this week, Langston will be celebrating its homecoming. It has been predicted that this will be the largest homecoming in the history of Langston University. It will be a happy homecoming because it's no secret. Secretary of Agriculture Block announced through his Assistant Secretary of Agriculture, Samuel Cornelius at Langston University, will be receiving a $107,000 grant. But when we think of Langston University, not only do we think of high academic achievements, but we also think of fish. Now, those of you that will be attending Langston University, I want you to know that Langston University's fish culture research and other interest groups have had an impact on the fish culture industry for both small home consumption and large-scale economic enterprises. And this is going to be even greater in the next 5 to 10 years. That industry, the fish culture industry, is growing like crazy, according to Glenn Gebhardt, Langston University Research and Extension fish specialist, who helped conduct the annual Fish Culture Field Day at Langston University. Over 200 visitors, including small fish farmers, gathered to tour the farms and observe the latest experiments on fish feeds, automatic feeders, harvesting techniques, and stimulating catfish growth. The field day started with a bus tour to the ponds showing suitable and unsuitable conditions. When you go to Langston's homecoming, not only enjoy the game, but be sure and enjoy the progress that has been made at Langston University, Langston, Oklahoma. As we travel, we began to see discrimination in all forms. I would like to say in my travels, Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma, has the poorest rest areas of any state that I have ever traveled in. For example, between Oklahoma City and Tulsa, you have rest areas. Now, can you imagine somebody inviting you to use their highways, give you rest areas without any toilets? Well, that's ridiculous. Anybody would know better. And I think those of you that are in lawmaking positions and you are thinking of tourists in Oklahoma, you better get some bathrooms in the rest areas. If not, you're going to lose a crowd. Can you imagine somebody with signs saying rest areas and no restrooms. Well, that's disgraceful. And certainly I shall be telling the governor about that. And I want you to tell the governor, you need some restrooms on the way on our highways whenever we have rest areas. What is a person going to do? Do you want us to go back to the old days of travel when people took slop jaws? A rest area should have restrooms. The next thing, in going to Langston University, I would like to call upon the Department of Transportation to put a sign where you exit and it says Guthrie. I want you to put a sign which says Langston University, Langston, Oklahoma. I know you have a sign 2 miles from the main exit, but I think Langston University, Langston, Oklahoma needs a sign. And therefore, we are calling upon the Transportation Department to do that. One thing I like about being an American, when things aren't wrong, you can certainly call someone's attention to it and ask them to do something about it. Thanks are in order from Mrs. Lois M. Felder. For those of you that made the grand opening of the Capital Tire and Automotive Incorporated a great success. You did it. You came in large numbers in spite of the rain, and then on Monday you followed it up. The Goodyear Tire and Service is located at 23rd and Kelly Street and is open under new owner and management. It's the Capital Tire and Automotive Incorporated. Service that are dedicated to you and your automobile. You can buy your tires, all 4 of them. You can balance your tires, all 4 of them. Because tire balancing is computerized. It's a Hunter spin on the car, it's statics balancer, complete brake service, batteries, the most sophisticated equipment for front-end maintenance. You can get your oil changed. You can get lubrication completely. And flats, they will fix flats so quickly that you cannot even believe it. One service that people are still talking about is the fact that at the Capital Tire and Automotive Incorporated, you can drive your car in and receive free transportation to work while your car is being serviced. Now, if you want this, you will have to call 424-0044 or 424-0045 or 424-0046. When you talk about service, you must look at qualifications. Leroy Miller is a sales and shop manager. Leroy Miller could easily be called Professor Tireman. He's had the experience. Raleigh Jones Sr. is a general manager ready to take care of you. And when you go to the Capital Tire and Automotive Incorporated, be sure and see the new president, Mrs. Lois M. Felder, who becomes the first female president in the state of Oklahoma. Today at the Emmanuel Baptist Church, the Fellowship Men's class celebrated 36 years of dedication. It was happy 36th birthday from 1949 to 1985. The Fellowship Men's Brotherhood class has been taught by one Mr. Hintz. Can you imagine? A group of men having one teacher for 36 years. What does that mean? It means progress. Mr. C.C. Richmond is the president of the fellowship class. J. Wilson, the vice president. C.P. Wilson is the secretary. Now, the Men's Fellowship Bible class was organized in 1949. At that time, C.C. Carroll was one of the members. He is now the minister. Today, it was a family dinner with all of the accessories, baked ham, Cornish chicken, on, and some beautiful cooks. Mrs. Harris, Mrs. Richmond, Mrs. Perry, and Mrs. Celia Richmond. What cooks? The highlight, however, of the celebration was an address brought by Reverend Paul G. Prim, the baby of the Prim family. Many of you know Roger Prim and Prim Auto Company here. But maybe you don't know Reverend Paul G. Prim, who pastors of St. John's AME Church and St. Mark's AME Church in Kingfisher, Oklahoma. Reverend Paul Prim stood tall today. There were no jokes. He even stated that if you came there looking for jokes, you were out of luck. It was sincere. It was dedicated. It had a bit of information, and it had a great appeal. Get back to biblical principles, he spoke. Get your priorities right. Go back. We must get back to biblical principles. Teach your children how to say no, he cried. No to crime. Teach your children by an example. And certainly it was a refreshing evening to hear Reverend Paul G. Prim of the St. Mark's AME Church at the Emmanuel Baptist Church, where the men's fellowship Bible class was celebrating their 36th anniversary. The Urban League's musical is now taking place at Tabernacle Baptist Church, and those of you that want to hear some music, I would invite you to go to Tabernacle at this time. The Ladies for Christian Education is sponsoring a fashion show with a little talent. It will be held at the Midwest City Community Center, 100 North Midwest Boulevard, on Friday, November the 15th, 1985 at 7:30 p.m. You should be able to purchase your tickets. The adults are only $5, the children $2, and under 6 you will be admitted free. There will be refreshments served, and you can also purchase tickets at the door. Let me repeat that. The Ladies for Christian Education is sponsoring a fashion show with just a little talent at the Midwest City Community Center, 100 North Midwest Boulevard, on Friday, November the 15th, 1985 at 7:30 p.m., and children under 6 can be admitted free. Today's program is going to be quite different from any other program because of the nature of today. Today is what is known as No Crime Day, and it is during that day that we turn around and we look at ourselves, and that's great. Because once a people look at themselves, their strong points and their weaknesses, they can move forward. So today we are going to ask you, and I tell you what I want you to do. Today I want a minister to call me somewhere in Oklahoma. I don't care what religious denomination, I don't care what color, I don't care what race. And I want you to tell me what you feel that we can do to combat crime in our city. I want a doctor to call me. I want a lawyer to call me. But the majority of my program will be an appeal to those that are in prison. I want you to call me and tell me what you feel we can do. Because every time I pick up a paper and read about a young man or a young woman that has committed a crime, I really believe that somewhere down the line, we have failed. I want to get your opinion, and at the close of this show today, you will have the opportunity to hear my philosophy on No Crime Week. Okay, now let's see if you have it. You may call me here at KAEZ Radio. Now, I want a doctor, I want a lawyer, and then I want some people that have been involved in crime. I want you to call me, and the only subject that I want to discuss is what do you feel we can do to stop crime? Where do you think we have failed? We have the best educated generation that we have ever had. We have the most beautiful churches that we have ever had. We have it. Now, why? But today I also have a very distinguished guest with me. I have a guest here today, and I've just looked forward to my guest. I always look forward to my guest. And how are you today?
Pretty good, you, Miss Luper.
Oh, I'm fine today. Will you tell the audience your name, please?
Edwin Droke.
Edward Droke, you have always been concerned with what is happening in your neighborhood. You were concerned with the fact that there was a young man that was taken to jail and died there, right?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and together we were to discuss and we were to talk about some of the problems. Now, I want you, as my first guest, I want you to tell me, where do you think we are failing to reach our young people, especially our young men. Because, Droke, we represent 9.8% of the population in Oklahoma City, yet we represent 40% of the crime. What do you think?
Well, basically, I think that we really want to stray back in the early 70s is when drugs really hit the streets and the high schools. And they just, all the young kids, they were really off into experimentation and didn't really have any true guidance. And during this period of time, I was in prison myself, and I could see young blacks entering prison in the prison system, and they would say, excuse me, and they would make various comments about what's happening on the streets and this, that, and what have you. And I wrote one of my high school teachers during this period of time, Miss T.R. Parks, and I told her that, you know, it wasn't nothing that I could do, but I asked her as a teacher at Douglas High School to really try to bring my point across in a letter that I had written to her.
Okay, now what was your point?
To tell basically the high schoolers, the teenagers, don't mess with drugs, and it's so easy to get in trouble, but it's one big job to get out of. And I think I had been in prison about 6 years then.
Okay, how many years did you spend in prison?
11 years, 11 months, and 21 days.
How many?
11 years, 11 months, and 21 days.
All right, now during that time, what basic facts did you really learn?
Basically, I learned to appreciate black woman.
Well, that's really great. I'm sure glad you learned that, because there's so many men that don't know how to appreciate any kind of women, black, white, yellow, or what have you. If you learned that, that was really something. Why do you think we failed you?
I don't think anyone failed me, to be perfectly honest. I was easily influenced by older people at the time that I got in trouble. And that was my problem. I was influenced into...
You were influenced by older people?
Yes, I was.
How old? What was the difference in the age group?
Anywhere from 2 to 4 years.
And they influenced you, and then when you got in prison, did they give you any help or any financial assistance, any legal help?
No, they didn't.
They walked out on you after you had gotten that far?
Yes, they
Now,
did.
if you had to say a word on this No Crime Sunday to the thousands of young people and old people that are listening all over this state, what would you say?
I would say basically that don't let anyone make your mind up for you. Be your own man or be your own woman and make your own mind up. If you make a decision to do something, do it because you want to and not because someone else wants you to.
All right, now what prison were you in?
I was in McAllister the biggest majority of the time.
Is it nice in prison?
I beg your pardon.
Okay, I was just asking you, is it nice in prison?
No, it wasn't to me.
And you will never go to prison again?
Not unless they want a dead man to do some time.
Oh, I'm sure they don't want a dead man. That's the best answer that I have received. And thank you so very kindly. The M&J's Furniture Company is located at 910 Northeast 4th Street here in Oklahoma City. Are you looking for specific furnishings to complement that special room in your home? Or perhaps you are looking for an unusual and unique accessory to enhance your decor? Then stop by M&J's Furniture, 910 Northeast 4th Street, your neighborhood furniture store for the finest in-home furnishings and accessories at prices you can afford. They're open Tuesdays through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Remember the M&J's Furniture, 910 Northeast 4th Street, the telephone number 2320115. Tell them you heard it on the Clara Luper radio show, and you will receive a 10% discount on already low prices. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and I've asked you to call me. I will be sure and call me here at KAEZ, because we have heard it from different standpoints, and that was Mr. Droke, who just told us that he would have to be dead to go back to prison. All right. Cecil Williams?
Yes,
Okay. How are you today?
fine, Clara.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I am concerned today with one thing.
Okay.
I want to know
What do you feel that we can do to cut out crime in our community?
One of the things is the people who committed it. We need to get with them also. The people on the streets, also the gamblers, the prostitutes, like we do on voters registration, and find out what the basic problems are, how we can deal with it, as opposed to just going to the churches and urban league people. I think there are a lot of other individuals in the community to help as well. It's a good idea. But I think that if we are to cut out crime in our community, we're going to have to get with the people who are committing the crime.
How do you propose to get with the people that's committing the crime?
We're talking now. And have them, like on Mondays, when we meet at Freedom Center, have them to come down and see what we can do. What are some of the problems, unemployment, poverty, some of the problems of, tutoring, reading, and just basic problems, can't find a job. I think it's just to jump on the black people per se and not jump on the white community who unemployed too. I think that we have some miscarriage of justice.
Oh, so you think that what we should do is to jump on both the black community and the white community?
Totally. I think that if you're going to resolve crime, you're going to have to jump on the problems and not just the individuals that committing the crime, saying give them the time, but there are reasons they're committing crime. And there's some of them are...
Okay, now what are the reasons as you see it?
I think individuals who are unemployed. I think some of them are educational. I think many of them are individuals who don't have a concept about who they are. And that's through education as to, just to say an individual has to be black on black crime is one thing. It's a good, and I've been doing it for 22 years, but when individuals call me and say, Mr. Williams, could you help me find a job? Could you help me get a house? Could you help me do some things? I think that basically what we need to do as a community, not just basically jump all over them, but to see if we can resolve some of the problems that's in the community that cause crime. And a lot of it is poverty and ignorance, and like I said, in education, and unemployment.
Okay, Cecil, thank you so very kindly.
What I call you about.
Okay, well, this is what we are talking about today. Was it anything special?
I want to tell you about my show starting tomorrow, and I'm working on your husband tell you what I'm doing. My show started 3 to 3:30 on KDYE tomorrow, Monday through Friday.
Okay.
Like businessman.
Okay, then.
I'll take your deal.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Cecil L. Williams who announced the starting of his show. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and this part of our show is being brought to you by Nash Mitchell's Bonding Company, Time Care and Help, 24-hour service. The telephone number is 427-8199 or 427-2862. His office, Mr. Mitchell's office, is located at 2319 North Lottie Street here in Oklahoma City. City bonds, county bonds, all kinds of bonds. That's Nash Mitchell's Bonding Company here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. How can you say thank you to Mrs. Purnell, Mrs. Mike Carver, and others from the McGuire Plaza Center? Well, last night, the movie Brother President was presented to a full house at the McGuire Plaza Center. I would like to let you know, you that enjoy the good old hot popcorn, the peanuts and the candy and the pop, how much C.P. Wilson and I enjoyed being with you last night. You were a swell audience, and I would like to tell the people that those that saw the movie last night say one thing: I enjoyed it, and I wish more people could see it. And those of you that are interested in seeing Brother President, the story of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., why don't you call us at 424-3949 or contact Mr. Richard Garrett at John Marshall High School here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Now, I want you to call me. The telephone number is 424-3376, 424-6494. I want some of you that have been in prison or those of you that are in prison to call me and tell me what you feel that we can do. That's 424-3376, 424-6494 here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I would like for a minister to call me, a missionary or someone, because I want to get different sides of it. Droke, I want to ask you, Cecil Williams has just stated that he believes that the cause should not be shared by the black community, but also by the white community. Do you agree with Cecil L. Williams?
Yes, I tend to agree with that. I can't really take issue with him from depart on what his. I really don't know what his philosophy is, but Black America is not the whole problem to the crimes of the United States.
Would you blame the white community for the crimes you committed?
Well, it's just like blaming heads and tails. You know, both. I think everybody plays an equal part in the crime syndicate today. Uh, you take the blacks who feel like they've been deprived and dejected for just simply because they're black. I mean, they have a legitimate ground, but at the same token, or on the same hand, the whites who promulgate such practices are equally responsible for any actions the blacks might take.
Okay, let me go back to you, Mr. Droke. Do you feel that the whites were responsible for your committing the crimes that you committed? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, how?
I was 17 when this first took place, and during that period of time, it was in the late 60s, and a lot was happening insofar as civil rights was concerned. And I didn't realize what a profound effect that racism had upon me at this particular time. And it was 7 or 8 years later in prison before I really snapped to what made me react the way I did.
Now, you came from a good home. You came from a good home, Droke. You had things that young people before you didn't dare have. Is that right?
That's true.
You came from a family that was not crime-orientated, yet you committed crime, and yet you're saying that you blame the white community.
Yes, I am.
Okay, well, that's Droke's side of it. I would like for you to call me. I want to hear your side. Everybody, you're afraid to call? You're afraid to give your opinion? Because certainly I want your opinion. 424-3376. The Watkins Stevens Skyview Convalescent Nursing Home is located at 3203 Coltrane Road. It's clean. It's a modern home for the sick and the aged. 24 hours nursing service. Betty R. Lynch is the administrator. R.N. is Estella Bug, who is the director of nursing. Phyllis Chambers, the secretary. Anita Johnson, the social and activity director. Mrs. Hattie Young is the LPN. It's on from 3 to 11. Now, one thing that I want you to note when you're looking for a convalescent nursing home, I want you to notice that at Watkins Stevens Nursing Home, they have a hot food cart for keeping the food warm. That's a Watkins Stevens Skyview Convalescent Nursing Home here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. One thing about working here on radio, you always enjoy your mail and your telephone calls from listeners. I certainly today would like to thank you for what you are doing. For those of you that are going to the Enterprise Square place and telling me that, Clara, it was a deal. And I'm so glad that I went to the Enterprise Square place, 4901 North Martin Luther King Avenue. I'm so happy that I went there because I found that I could purchase my tags, pay my utility bills. I could go to the post office and I could get my clothes clean, and if I wanted to get them washed, the laundromat was out of sight. That was at the Enterprise Square place here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Clara Luper, KAEZ Radio.
Hello, Miss Luper. This is Bashir Alami.
Yes.
Formerly known as Benny Bell. I was incarcerated.
Yes.
I was in prison with one of your guests on the show.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, I have a question for you today.
Okay.
What do you think? Where did we fail you as a young man in this city?
Okay, I think it was a total deprivation in my situation. It was a lack of education, misdirection, a lack of role models, and deprived in all those senses there.
Okay, now I don't understand. All of the ministers that you have in this city, all of the successful people, and you're going to tell me you didn't have a role model?
Well, see, you can have ministers. Ministers is you got a limited role model there because everybody wasn't necessarily made to be a minister, and at the same time, if you're living in a materialistic society like America, and you see people having certain materialistic possessions, you want them or desire them too. And you want to see businessmen, you want to see, uh, all types of successful role models, not just the ministers. You name ministers, but give me some more examples other than ministers. Give me some successful businessmen. Give me.
Well, you have some in Oklahoma City.
Well, you have some in Oklahoma City. This is what I'm saying. See, now, what I'm saying, what I said was misconceptions, lack of education, misdirected. Okay, because I started out at a very young age.
Oh, when you say young age, what do you mean? 25?
No, not 25. I was kind of angry when you was doing your boycott days at Johnny Brown.
You were angry?
Yeah, it's one of our main target areas, and I remember y'all was down there boycotting. It put the eye on us. We came down and take them off, and they was looking at us and everything like that. See, so my life has been surrounded in that. See, and
okay, now you started when you were 10 or 11 shoplifting, and then.
The first time I was picked up, I was 12 years old.
Okay, and then.
Okay, and I went to Bowley State Trading School, and there wasn't any kind of supervision or any kind of profound.
Are you telling me there was no supervision at Bowley when you were there?
Well, not really, because
okay.
Terrible things happen there to very young people because you're exposed to other people who've been more advanced than you in crime, and at the same time, a very perverse situation because you're exposed to homosexuality at a very young age, and all these type things has effect upon you when you come back into society.
Okay, now from Bowley, where did you go?
Okay, I went from Bowley, I went to Leavenworth. I refused to fight in the Vietnam War. Okay, that wasn't exactly criminal.
Okay.
It's still not criminal.
Okay.
And
from Leavenworth.
Okay, from Leavenworth, I came back in 1970. In 1971, I was incarcerated again in McAllister for about almost 9 years.
All right, now what do you think we can do to keep other young men from going through the same experiences that you have gone through?
Well, I think that the examples need to be more prevalent. And at the same time, I think it's good that when people who have been incarcerated before come forward and explain their situation and might catch somebody who's been misled.
Okay, now, you have the opportunity. You're talking to over 600,000 people all over the state of Oklahoma. What would you say to these people?
Okay, what I would say to the people is that crime is everybody's problem. And that it's not just a lower crime, it's a middle crime, it's a higher crime. And in a lot of cases, you have people who, just because they don't have money and they're poor, they're incarcerated and they get a stigma on them. And when they do get this stigma, okay, and come back into society, it becomes very difficult for them, and then more than likely they'll revert and go back into crime. Okay, and when they do this, it's a lot of people who come out and they know how to get certain materialistic possessions and impress upon people's minds. But I want to tell people that that the criminals, let me say the so-called criminals or the prisoners, they're suffering people. They are very frustrated class of people. And most of them are still participating in crime. They're a very confused group of people. And they have, in a lot of cases, legitimate reasons if they see them, because they feel forced out of the normal ways of making money or the legal ways of making money. I would say open up. I would say forgive. Learn to forgive those people and so that people can come forth. When I say people, I'm talking about mainly the ex-offenders, because this is mainly where my mind is concentrated at.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, look, you've been very kind, and I do have some of my other people. I want to get all kind of views. You've been very kind, and you know I love you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Clara Luper Radio Show. This part of our show is brought to you by Sir Charles Attila, located at 6225 Southeast 15th Street. The telephone number is 733-7600. It's time now to do your shopping for the fall, and you deserve a tailor-made suit. So go to Sir Charles Attila, 6225 Southeast 15th Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Many of you have told me that you are back at the House of Bingo, 3613 North Everett Street. The telephone number is 427-9289. That's the House of Bingo, 3613 North Everett Street, open for your convenience.
Clara Luper, KAEC Radio in Oklahoma City.
Hi.
Yes.
My name is Marilyn Porter, and I'm calling to give my opinion on those that have stated that one reason for the black-on-black crime is low.
Would you speak up just a bit for me?
Yes. Okay, I'm calling it because, my opinion on black-on-black crime, a couple of gentlemen have commented on the fact that it's due to unemployment. That could be true, but I know for my fact that if you really want to go out and get a job, no matter how hard and how long it takes, there are jobs out there. Even if you're uneducated, sure you're not going to walk into a high-paying job, but any job is better than no job at all. And for education, that starts, as well as unemployment, I feel that should start at home. I am 27 years old, and I have 2 sons. And I figure what I can do to set an example for them would help them in the future. That's as well, not as so much as religion, but encourage them in school, push them, help them as much as I can, teach them the value of $1, and that will deter them from crime. And this I've seen growing up as a child when, excuse me, when the parents are not doing their part in teaching the child the right values and morals of life, the child is going to take their own attitude of life. They're going to pick up what's out in the street, and that's where your crime starts. You have black people that look at other black people to say, they just shake their heads and not even try to encourage this child or an adult to go down the right path of life. So I feel the solution for black-on-black crime is stop blaming the white people.
Oh, you don't blame the white people for the crimes.
Well, if a white man or a black man is not going to do no more for you than what you do for yourself. If they see that you have a low attitude on yourself, why should they care about you? If they see that you want to be something and you're not going to let them shut the door in your face, and that you're determined to be somebody, they're going to try to give you a chance. But you got to show to them, prove to them that you want to be something yourself. They're not going to just open the door to you just because you say, I want a job, I want to do this. You yourself is going to have to determine whether or not you want to be somebody. And you're not going to want to go out there and steal from your own black brother or sister. You want to go out there and get a job or get a good education where you can do better.
Okay, Merle, it's very kind of you to call me, and I've enjoyed you so much. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
MAPCO is a business. It's a family business. MAPCO has 3 locations. First, MAPCO is at 2035 Northeast 23rd Street, and you can get all of your automobile needs. MAPCO is at Penn and Weston in the northwest part of Oklahoma City. Get all of your auto needs. MAPCO is in Choctaw, Oklahoma. There you can get all of your needs. That's MAPCO. Capital M, capital A, capital P, capital C-O. MAPCO, 2035 Northeast 23rd Street for all of your auto needs. Today, many of you need some burglar bars, where you may call the M&W Welding Company, 2601 Northeast 23rd Street here in Oklahoma City. The telephone number is 1482. Ask for Mr. McCary. That's the M&W Welding Company here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And today, you, the most intelligent radio audience in America, you are talking about what you feel we can do about crime on this No Crime Sunday.
Clara Luper, KAEZ Radio.
Reverend Hollis.
Well, Reverend, I'm so happy that you called. I've just been waiting on a minister to call. What do you think we can do about crime?
What do I think we can do in the community?
Yes.
Black community?
Yes.
Well, we need to start a community survey and community watch from door to door. Any stranger that doesn't belong in that area or something of that kind would be call the police or call your neighbor.
Oh, so you're saying a community watch program?
Yes.
Okay, well, we have one in our community. I live in the Wood Street neighborhood area. We have a president, Mr. O'Reilly, and we have been very successful with it.
Right.
Okay, anything else?
Well, that's just about it. I was listening to somebody saying a while ago that because of jobs. Now, jobs might be somewhere, but you got a group out here on the street that really doesn't want to work. You got a group of drug addicts and all of that looking for nothing but something easy. For instance, me, myself, I got a car. They tried to steal it. Cost $900 to fix it. They tried it again. A dog run them off. They tried it again. They got it. It cost $9,000. Well, $9,300 to fix it. And then after I got it back, they tried it again, and the dog got them.
Oh, the dog caught them?
Yeah, he bit him. He couldn't hold him because he was chained. So, I offered people jobs, tried to send people to jobs, and they wouldn't go. I'd see them the next day and say, well, I thought I'd rest today and go tomorrow. As another guy came in for a handout, and I said, you haven't found no job in 6 months? He said, well, I find plenty of jobs, but they're not what I want. So you see, you got a group of people that doesn't want to work. They want to live off of somebody else.
Oh, do you agree with those who blame the white man for the high crime on the northeast side of Oklahoma City?
Well, I don't agree with anyone stealing. I mean, they may want to lay it on white folks. They got white crimes in white areas, too. And, because I've been up all through Nickel Hills. They steal up there. And I just don't see a lot of black stealing because of white, especially when they're stealing from their own race. If they were stealing for white, then it would be a little different. But they're knocking off black people who have not much more than they have and who is working to try to have some, and then they come in and take it over an hour.
Well, Reverend Hollis, I really appreciate your call in, and thanks a million. Okay?
Okay.
I was talking to Marilyn Hildred, and she was telling me about insurance needs. It's a fact that we all must have our insurance. And Marilyn say, would you be kind enough to call her at Allstate Insurance Company here in Oklahoma City? What she would like to do is to compare your policy with the policy that Allstate has to offer. You may find her on North May Avenue. Her home telephone number is 424-3949. Yes, today's program is being brought to you by Behold the Walls by Clara Luper. So many of you enjoy my show. Do you enjoy it enough to buy a book? My book's on sale, Behold the Walls by Clara Luper. I'm down to the final copies in my first edition and will be headed for a new printing. That's Behold the Walls by Clara Luper. And incidentally, I would like to say thanks to all of the teachers. I had the opportunity to show my book at the OEA convention in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I would also like you to know that Robert Adams, who's a teacher at John Marshall High School, plays a leading role, not no token role, but a leading role in OEA policy making. And I really want to salute him. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show. Clara Luper, KAEZ Radio.
How you doing, Miss Luper?
Oh, I'm fine today because I'm hearing from my intelligent audience.
Okay. First of all, I want to say I just enjoy listening to your radio program.
Well, thank you.
Okay, Miss Luper, I called to talk to you about the black-on-black
Yes.
issue that you're discussing.
Yes.
And I myself was in prison for 6.5 years. And I'm from Tulsa. I went to prison on a manslaughter charge. And, well, I just, would like to discuss with you
if you have some questions, I would like to answer.
Okay, now where did we fail you?
Well,
You came through the school system. You came through our churches. Where did we fail you?
okay, yeah, I was listening to some other people say that.
Talk a little louder for me.
Okay, the girl that was on a few minutes before the gentleman that you just had on, she said that she felt like if she would give to her children, that would be enough. Well, it is people that end up in prison who have very good parents, and it is people that end up in prison that, you know, make good money, and it's people that come from low-income brackets. And what I think that it is that you have to have understanding towards different problems that children are having. Because, like, I came in on they call it involuntary crime, and it's not really that I was just a criminal, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I did other things before then, and I had came up in a real religious family. I was raised up by my grandmother, and but I had been introduced to forgery. I had been living out on the streets at a very young age, you know.
What do you mean, a young age?
Well, I left. The first thing that I did, I think that led to my criminal life was I got pregnant when I was 14. Okay?
Okay.
And I got married, and I had the baby, and the marriage didn't work out. But because I had got married at a young age, they kind of left me on my own because I didn't have anybody over me anymore. And so I just started kind of living out on the streets. I became involved in dancing in nightclubs, and a lot of young black girls I know from my own experience are allowed to go in these nightclubs and dance, and, you know, they just start being influenced by the wrong environment. And the community, basically, I think that people should judge people individually, and that you just can't look at a person for a specific crime, that you have to look at their background and look at how they were brought up and how were they raised up and what influenced them. And I think that when a person do this, when the courts do this, that they would be better able to know how to punish people if they deserved maybe a suspended sentence, you know. And I just think that the community needs to judge people individually.
Well, do you think the kind of thing I'm doing today will help?
Yeah, I think that it'll shed some light because it gives people like me a chance to discuss our views and to let them be known. So I really do think that it helps. And also I think that spirituality or righteousness, God is a way to help people like me. Because of my own particular situation, I was in prison before I really ever learned about God. See, it took prison to do that for me.
And then you came from a religious home, yet you had to go to prison before you could realize God.
Before I could really discover what it was that my people were saying. But see, like with my own situation, I had a one-parent home, an old lady, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't be the father that I needed, you know, and she couldn't be the mother that I needed because she couldn't go to the PTA meetings with me, and she couldn't encourage me to do different things. And possibly if there had been one person who would have took some interest in me to say, well, Kim, you know, I could draw then, you know, I still can draw a little bit. But back then, if they would have said, well, hey, Kim, I see that you have some ability. Let's develop. Come over to my house. Let me talk to you. Let me show you how to read. Let me, you know, take you places and really got involved with me, maybe my life would have been different.
Well, Kim, I really enjoyed you, and I'm going to have to let you go, but I want you to come back and talk to me, okay?
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This is a Clara Luper radio show, and Dr. A.L. Dial would like to say congratulations to the Urban League and those that participated in the No Crime Day. Dr. Dial's office is located at 934 Northeast 8th Street. The telephone number is 235-0536. The Clara Luper radio show today is your show, and certainly I will give you the opportunity to talk. And Onita is here today. Letty Ruth is at her big church musical, and next week at 6 o'clock, the 5th Street Baptist Church will present its musical. I have been asked to announce to you that 5th Street Baptist Church will have its musical at exactly 6 o'clock next Sunday. In the at 6:30 next Sunday. Now, I want you to get that time Right. It will be exactly at 6:30 p.m. next Sunday at 801 Northeast 5th Street. The program will conclude the congregation's month-long celebration of loyalty to God and the church. The choir is under the direction of Mr. Clay Paul Carter, the minister of music, and Jerry Richardson, the pianist. Now, on Sunday, if you are ill, you've been ill, if you're in a wheelchair, if you are blind, we want you to come to Fifth Street Baptist Church on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. I really need 30 guests. Not only that, you are invited to have dinner with the Fifth Street family on Sunday. Clara Luper, KAEZ.
Clara Luper, KAEZ Radio in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Hello, Miss Luper. How are you?
I'm fine.
I was listening to the lady that was on earlier.
Okay.
She was talking about religion and all that. Listening to her talk, that made me think about a guy that I was dating. You know, he was out of the prison, the penal system, and we were getting along just fine. But it's like you would think by him being in there for 4 or 5 years that he would have changed. He came out like things, you know, like the system had changed him. But yet in the back of his mind, all he could think of was a way of making quick money, because he couldn't get a job because of his record. And it seemed like crime was just embedded into his brain.
Okay, now what do you feel we can do at this point?
Well, talking to him you know, just sitting down talking to him, I said, well, how are they treating you inside, you know, behind the wall and all? He said, well, everything's just fine. You know, they feed us 3 times a day, and we got this and that. And he made it sound like it was peaches and cream.
Oh, I see.
So it was like, you know, he really wasn't corrected. You know, he's in there, he spends 5 years there, and then he turns around and let him out. And like right now, you know, he's on his way back. All because, you know, he came out, which he had got a job, but, you know, all because he couldn't cope with the people he worked with, he quit. But yet, you know, people were trying to give him a second chance. And instead of him keeping the job he had, you know, just because things don't flow like he wants them to, he feels like, you know, he could just quit this job. But it's like the system of the crime was what, you know, was one thing that he liked to do. And as far as his background goes, you know, he came from a one-parent family where the father was absent. So therefore, the mother had all, like, 6 other kids she had to take care of. And she got to the point where she was spending more time with them than she was spending with him. And she was not purchasing clothing or shoes for him, so he had to look elsewhere, you know, to get the things that he needed. So therefore, that's when he started shoplifting and getting away with it. And one thing led to another.
You've been very kind, and the clock on the wall says that I have to say goodbye to you because we've got to prepare for our funeral and death announcements, okay? And here's Onita with our funeral and death announcement.
Okay.
Ross Funeral Home announces the services of Mr. Dwight Jones, 2109 Northeast 15th, will be Friday at 1 p.m. in the chapel of the Ross Funeral Home. Temple Funeral Home announces the following services.
Okay, Onita, would you repeat Dwight Jones's funeral, please?
Ross Funeral Home announces the following service. Service for Mr. Dwight Jones of 2109 Northeast 15th will be Friday at 1 p.m. in the chapel of the Ross Funeral Home. Temple Funeral Home announces the services of Infant Torrance Robinson of Oklahoma City. His funeral service will be Monday at 11 a.m. at the St. Mark Baptist Church. Services for Mr. Milton McNeely of 2308 East Park Place is pending with the Temple Funeral Home. Services for Mr. Alexander Colton of 2208 Hardin Drive is also pending with the Temple Funeral Home. We would like to say to the families tonight, as we extend to you our deepest sympathy, there is never a life so darkened, and there's never a cross so heavy, so hopeless and unblessed. But we may be filled with the light of God and enter his promised rest. There is never a sin or sorrow. There is never a care or loss, but that we may bring to Jesus and leave at the foot of the cross And back to Clara.
Thank you, Onita. The closing part of this program is dedicated to a great attorney, Attorney Braswell, an attorney that's making things happen. For example, I had the opportunity to go to the Braswell office building. I have never seen anything so beautiful. I want this week to be a week in which you salute Attorney Braswell. Not only that, he has brought townhouses to northeast Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I want you to know, as you read local papers, just remember, every lawyer in this town, someone has filed something against them. So what I want you to do is to take a look at Attorney Braswell, and I want the whole world to know, and I want Attorney Braswell to know that I believe in him and a lot of other people. Wouldn't it be something if everybody would publish every complaint that somebody has against somebody? It would really be bad. And this is Clara
Luper, KAEZ Radio.
Good evening, Miss Luper.
Yes.
My name is Mike Smith, and I'm from the Joseph R. Correctional.
Will you talk out just a bit for me?
Yes, my name is Michael Smith, and I'm from the Joseph R. Correctional.
Okay, talk up just a little louder for me.
All right, I'm talking up as loud as I can. Man.
Okay, just try again.
My name is Michael Smith. I'm from the Joseph R. Correctional Center.
Yes.
And well, I've listened to your show weekly, really. And first of all, I'd like to say that it's a wonderful show, and I enjoy listening to
Well,
it.
thank you.
Secondly, I'd like to comment on some of the statements that
Okay.
several of your callers that come in.
Okay.
First of all, the young lady who came on right before the preacher.
Okay.
Okay, she had been talking about how the parents and stuff plays a vital role, and
Right.
well, my folks have all been, exceptionally good parents and stuff like that. I mean, that's not the reason I'm in a penitentiary now.
But why are you in the prison?
I'm in the penitentiary primarily because of the lack of job. Okay, my first fall. This happens to be my second fall. Okay.
Okay, when you say your second fall, the second time you're in prison.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. My first fall, granted, it was from sheer laziness.
Okay, from laziness. That's what one minister said. Okay.
I didn't want to do anything, so.
Okay, let's go to the second one because I'm gonna have to get off the within a minute.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now the second one, of course, is was a whole other situation. I mean, I'm going to school. I'm in my Bible daily. I'm believing in Jesus and all this and so forth and so on. Then I get out. I get a job. They find out that I've been in the penitentiary. I mean, I'm talking a dishwashing job.
Okay.
I mean, they find out that I've been in the penitentiary and they trump up charges to fire me. Then after that, I can't find another job because no one else wants to hire me because I've got to give them references, okay? And then they'll find out they'll find out from this other job that I've been to the penitentiary and they don't want me, huh? So it's gonna drive me mainly back to where I just left from. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
You see? So, really and truly, okay, now I've had college, and for me to just want a dishwashing job or to dig ditches or something like that, to me, it's really not beneath me, because I believe in working.
Okay, I'm going to have to let you go, but would you like for me to continue this program next week?
Miss Luper, I love it.
Okay, then. Okay.
All right, thank you much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Today, I have talked to many of you, and I want to say this to all of you wherever you are. This is no crime Sunday. We are originators from a group of people that did not have family life, and I'm not going to accept from you out in radio land, and I'm not going to accept for those of you that are in prison this family stuff. Because black people, let's name some. Frederick Douglass didn't have a family. Harriet Tubman didn't have a family. George Washington Carver didn't have a family. I know that many of you are having a difficult time getting jobs, but there's another side to it. And until next week, and I'm going to let you talk next week because I think you can give us something. But in the meantime, this week, let's stay away from crime. If you're hungry now, I want to give you a number. We have 100 chickens that will be given away for Thanksgiving. Write me, and the lady that's giving away will be Mrs. O. Roberts, will be giving away 100 chickens. Just drop me a card, Clara Luper, KAEZ Radio, Post Office Box 11106. We are giving away 100 chickens, and they will go to the first 100 postcards we get. Clara Luper saying, whatever you do, honey, stay away from crime, because I'm not going to take your excuses. Bye-bye, and I love you.
KAEZ, Oklahoma City.